If you enjoy True Crime Buzz, but need some more true crime in your life, then check out this other awesome podcast that we highly recommend.
It's estimated that at any given time, there are 90,000 missing persons, and that's just in the United States. Imagine if your loved one went missing. Is there anything that you wouldn't do to try and find them? Would you cross oceans? Spend your life savings? Continually retrace their last known steps, just hoping something jumped out at you? This is Missing Persons, a brand new podcast, and I'm your host, Mike Morford. If you're a true crime podcast fan, you might recognize me from some of my other podcasts, including Criminology, 3 Men and a Mystery, and The Murder in My Family. The most important part of hosting a podcast for me is advocating for the cases and the victims I discuss, as well as their families. I've been approached by so many people with a missing loved one, asking me if I could help them in any way. And if it was my loved one that was missing, I'd want someone to help me too, so I couldn't say no. And this podcast, Missing Persons, is the result of me wanting to help. In every episode of Missing Persons, you'll hear about a person who disappeared and currently remains missing. In some cases, there are clues to follow and leads to check on. In other cases, it's as if the person just vanished off the face of the earth. And in each episode, you'll hear from someone who's searching for that missing person. And whether they've been looking for 30 days or 30 years, the pain of not knowing what happened to their loved one is real. And the search for answers, a painful one. Missing Persons officially launches in March 2020. Will you join me and become part of the search for answers in these cases? If so, search for and subscribe to Missing Persons right now, wherever you listen to podcasts, so you don't miss an episode.
Hey everyone, welcome back to True Crime Buzz. I'm your host Amber, and with me as always is Brittany.
Hello, hello.
All right, Brittany, what you drinking today?
Well, I was about to say Diet Sam's Cola, but it's a lie. It's Food Lion Diet Cola.
Oh, Food Kitty Diet Cola.
Yeah.
Switching it up a little bit. Was Walmart out?
Yeah, they were out of even regular Diet Coke. So even if I had wanted to be bougie, I couldn't be because they were out of regular Diet Cokes.
Oh, damn.
Yep, shortage.
That would have been a real travesty.
Yes, it would have been. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Rex Goliath Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yes.
Keeping on with the red wine trend.
Yes, I'm glad though.
So, like I said before, I'm switching up this question. Which personal true crime story of the week are you going to talk about today?
I'm going to talk about my poor baby pup, my fur baby, Dexter. He stepped on a hornet and got stung on his little paw. And I cleaned him up and put some antibiotic cream on and got one of the girls' My Little Pony socks and put it over his paw and wrapped it in duct tape. Not on his fur, just on the sock. Of course, He took it off later, but it was long enough that the antibiotic cream had soaked in. He's made a full recovery, but I've never been so ready to kill a hornet. I smashed that thing. It was toast.
It stung him on his actual pad?
Yeah, on his little pad.
Oh, I thought it stung him on the muscle, his leg.
On his pad, yeah.
Poor little bugger.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad he's feeling better.
Yeah, he took a nap with my middle kid and was feeling much better after, so.
Well, good.
Yes, what about you?
You know what? We could do a whole episode about the hell that this week has been for me.
We could do a whole podcast, okay?
We could do a whole season of a podcast about this has been the worst week I have had, and I can't remember how long. And I'm not going to bore you with the details, but it was shit.
It was.
It was so bad that I caught myself having ice cream for lunch today, if that tells you anything about the week that I've had.
Well, that then inspired me to have ice cream for lunch, so we had ice cream
did.
for lunch together.
Sorry, not sorry.
Mm-mm.
But you know what? It's the end of the week. I'm hoping next week is better.
It's going to be.
And I'm like, oh, it was such a good week. I have no personal true crimes. This whole week has been a true crime for me. So I'm ready to see it go.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So I have no clue anything about what you're covering today. Sam even asked me before we started recording. He's like, oh, who's Brittany covering? I was like, I have no clue.
Yeah, well, I kept it that way for a reason. And honestly, I did not know about this case at all until I was cruising TikTok and came across, they didn't do the story of it, but they showed footage, like video footage. And it was like, what true crime story keeps you up at night? And it was just the footage. Ooh. And I was like, I know nothing about this. Let me deep dive. And immediately I was like, I'm covering this shit.
Well, if it's on TikTok, then I'm even more intrigued.
It is. I wish they would have done the story time, but honestly not, because then I wouldn't have had the chance to deep dive and do it. But let me preface this by saying also that this footage of, not of the actual murder, obviously, but
okay.
But everything before and after is easily accessible on YouTube. Look it up if you want to see it. Once you hear the story and then you see it, it's so creepy.
Ooh. I'm here for it, though. I like creepy. Well, I say that now. I'm probably going to hear the story and be like, I regret everything.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, the footage is not graphic. It's just creepy. So you'll be all right.
Okay.
Today, I'm covering a brutal slaying of a young Massachusetts teacher. She was loved by so many, and her life was just beginning. She was only 24.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, right? But even at just 24, this teacher was dedicated to her students and their education. In a bizarre twist, one of her young students decided to take this teacher's life. Today, I'm telling the story of the murder of Colleen Ritzer, who was killed by her student, 14-year-old Philip Chisholm.
Okay, I'm already very sad, but also very intrigued. Like,
right?
I need to know how we got to this point. Like, what happened?
I feel like our listeners are going to come for me. I feel like I've been doing a lot of kid killers lately, but look, y'all, they fascinate me. They fascinate me. And also, I'm hoping if I can learn about it, my kids won't kill me.
And that's the moral of today's story, everyone.
That's right. We're trying to prevent parricide.
People only think you're doing this for the podcast. You're really trying to educate yourself.
I am.
I see what you're doing. I see you.
That's right. So Colleen Ritzer was born on May 13th, 1989 in Lawrence, Massachusetts to Peggy and Thomas Ritzer. She had a younger brother, Daniel, and a younger sister, Laura. Her family was very tight-knit. Colleen was a math teacher at Danvers High School in Danvers, Massachusetts, and Colleen was described as, quote, well-loved and had an open, friendly nature, end quote. She genuinely cared about her students and would often stay after class to help students and answer questions. By all accounts, she was a great daughter, sister, teacher, co-worker, and friend. And also, because I've seen her picture, she was absolutely beautiful as well. Like a really naturally beautiful person.
I don't like where this is going, but
I don't
okay.
either. So, who is Philip Chisholm? Philip Chisholm was born on January 22nd, 1999 in Clarksville, Tennessee, to Stacy Tremaine Chisholm, who was in the military, and Diana Amanda Chisholm, who was a social worker. Philip had a younger sister named Isabella, and Stacy and Diana had gotten married on September 15th, 1998. They then welcomed Philip in January, and skipping ahead some, in February 2001, Diana and Stacy separated. And in March 2001, Diana filed for divorce, citing physical, emotional, and alcohol abuse for the reason for divorce.
That's a rough one.
Not a great situation for kids, it doesn't seem like. And no judgment on this next part either, because, well, we'll get into it. But Stacy and Diana reconciled, and court documents stated that any visitation between Stacy and the two kids would be supervised by Diana. And what I was going to say is no judgment, because I know it takes several times before you're ready to leave an abusive situation.
Right.
And maybe it's not always cut and dry. Maybe you don't have anywhere to go, or you don't have any money saved, or any,
Well, and even sometimes, even if you do have all the resources and all the money, it's like you just emotionally, you just can't.
Right.
You feel trapped. You feel like you're letting...
Or you really love the person.
The world down. Or you are still very much in love.
Yes.
Because love can be so blind.
It can be.
But...
So no judgment on that. However, obviously, it's a part of Philip's upbringing and probably not great for him to have been in. Philip did play soccer as a kid, and he was evidently pretty good at it.
Football is life.
Call us Lead Tasso.
Lead Tasso over here. Speaking of, if you've not watched Ted Lasso, just a little free advertisement, please do so. It's the best show ever.
You will never watch an episode and not be happy. Unlike this podcast.
When we have ruined your day, watch a Ted Lasso afterwards and everything will be okay.
Yes, exactly. Philip and his family briefly moved to Boca Raton, Florida, which I just love to say Boca Raton. I don't know why. I just do.
It sounds fancy.
It does. It does. When Philip was in the 5th grade, but soon relocated back to Clarksville, Tennessee for Philip to go to middle school. But then Diana and the kids moved to Massachusetts, and Stacy did not follow them. He did stay in touch, but didn't follow. Diana later described herself as recently divorced and said the divorce was, quote, stressful, which I'm sure it was.
Well, and speaking of stressful, he's in middle school at this point, and that's a lot of moving around and changing schools for somebody at like the worst age ever.
I'm like, this is the end of middle school, getting ready to go into high school. Now you're like having to leave, which I mean, he was part of a military family, and they didn't really move that awful much as a kid, which is surprising. You know, I don't know what his dad's rank and stuff was, but to be in a military family, it wasn't a lot of moving. So needless to say, it doesn't sound like Philip Chisholm had a good home life and was definitely experiencing a whole lot of intense changes in his life. Which brings us to October 22nd, 2013. Here's the timeline police have, and I got this from CNN and we'll link it, and then we'll deep dive after the basic timeline.
Okay.
So on October 22nd, Colleen asks Philip to stay after class. He was in the last class of the day. She asked Philip how he's adjusting from moving from Tennessee, and Philip got super agitated at the mention of Tennessee, and Colleen noticed this, so she tried to change the subject, and then she sent Philip on his way. At 2:54 p.m., Colleen leaves her classroom, A209, and goes to the second floor restroom. Not like the staff restroom, just the regular restroom. I mean, school's out. Why not? Use the one that's closest. At 2:55, so a minute later, a person, who is Philip, with a hood over his head and gloves on, follows Colleen into the bathroom. At 3:06 p.m., a female student enters the bathroom and quickly walks out. She later told police that she saw the back of a person who appeared to be changing clothes because the person's rear was exposed and clothes were piled on the floor. So she just, was giving them their privacy and left. 1 minute later, at 3:07 p.m., the person who had followed Colleen into the bathroom, Philip, walks out. During the next several minutes, Philip walks in and out of the school building, changes clothes, puts on a black mask, and takes a recycling can into the bathroom. At 3:22, Philip, in his black mask, leaves the bathroom, pulling the recycling can to the elevator out of the bathroom towards the student parking lot. At 3:30, a mother of another student sees Philip running away from the school. At 6:34, Philip's mom, she had been trying to locate him at school, like to pick him up. She couldn't find him, so she reported him missing to the police. And then at 9 p.m., Danvers High School principal Sue Ambrosevich sends a mass email that Philip is missing, like out to all students and staff.
Okay.
So, what happened to Colleen in the bathroom and after? It's graphic, so buckle up, Buttercup.
I had a feeling it would be.
It's bad. In the bathroom, Philip put on gloves and then pulled out a sharp box cutter and came at Colleen from behind. He slashed her throat 16 times before brutally raping her. He raped her after he slit her throat. The student that had walked in and back out, what she saw was Philip pulling his pants up after the rape. Of course, the student thought it was somebody changing. And if you just saw somebody pulling up pants, you'd think the same thing.
Right. I would have too, yes.
After Philip was done attacking and raping Colleen, he went and changed clothes and grabbed the recycling can, put Colleen, who was still alive, barely, but still alive, in the can, and rolled the can to a nearby wooded area. Philip dumped Colleen onto the ground and shoved a tree branch in her vagina. Then he pulled up her shirt all the way up, so her breasts were exposed, and spread her legs. Then he left a note that read, quote, "I hate you all," end quote, and then took off on foot with Colleen's credit card wearing bloody jeans.
Oh my God. I don't know what I was expecting, but I'm not saying any form of murder is worse than another because they all end up the same, but it's like, I just thought maybe he was going to go in and shoot her.
No.
I don't know. That's a lot of rage.
Graphic, and obviously pre-planned because he brought an extra change of clothes and gloves and a mask and all of these things to school.
That was going to be my next question is did he bring that? He intended to do all this? Or
yeah, why else would he have it in his backpack?
Who knows? Who knows?
It's bizarre. I can't even, and I just feel so bad for her, just laying there, still barely alive, and of course not able to scream for help because her throat has been cut, and just dying like that. That's just, it's bullshit.
Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody deserves that.
Not a soul on this earth.
Today's episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. Do you feel like you're stuck in a dinner rut? With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients with mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip all those trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. You can now enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in 30 minutes or less. With over 25 recipes to choose from each week, there is something for everyone to enjoy. All recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. I have not tried HelloFresh myself, but just looking on their website, the creamy lemon butter chicken looks amazing. Just click the link in our show notes and enter code HFAFF80, that's HFAFF80, to get $80 off, including free shipping. Go to the link in our show notes to get $80 off, including free shipping on HelloFresh, the #1 meal kit.
At around 11:20 p.m. that evening, Colleen's parents reported her missing. The principal and others had searched for Colleen and Philip because they were worried since a teacher and student were both reported missing. Her parents had actually went to the school as well to look for Colleen, and her car was still in the parking lot. But Colleen was nowhere to be found, which is why they reported her missing. Police had her cell phone company ping the location of Colleen's phone, and the last known location of her phone was near the middle school. I don't know, how close the middle school and high school are. Obviously, she taught at the high school. But, a lot of middle schools and high school are right around each other. So.
Oh, yes.
Then, at 12:30 a.m. on October 23rd, in the nearby town of Topsfield, an officer approached a teen pedestrian walking on the road. This teen was Philip Chisholm. Philip was patted down, and the officer found a knife. When they searched his backpack, they found a blood-stained box cutter and Colleen's license and credit card and her teal underwear. When asked where the blood came from, Philip said, quote, "the girl," end quote. As far as the other things in his backpack, at first Philip said he found them at a gas station, and then he said he stole them from Colleen's car. So the police arrested Philip at that point.
Good job, police.
Yes. And let me tell you, Philip's lawyers later tried to say, they should have never searched him and blah, blah, blah. But he was a teenage kid with blood on his clothes walking around in the street.
Right. Yeah, that's suspicious as hell. Why would you not question him?
Yeah, and acting a little weird. And just when they patted him down, they found a knife. So he's already armed. It's okay, anyways. Later that morning, Colleen's body was found covered with leaves. Clothing and Philip's bloody gloves were found about 20 yards away, as well as the recycling bin. The police went to talk to Philip's mom, and then at 5:36 p.m. on October 23rd, police talked to the student that had been in the classroom with Philip and Colleen the day before. The student had stayed after for help with math, and the student is how we know Colleen tried to talk to Philip, who got upset when she mentioned Tennessee, and that Colleen tried to change the subject. The student said Philip was still upset, and they said that Philip started talking to himself after he got upset. Yeah, so, maybe in a panicked mode, if you were planning to kill somebody and then they came up and were having a friendly conversation with you, I feel like it would throw you, because he's obviously not going to do that with somebody else right there. I mean, he could, but he didn't, so.
Unless he's having some sort of, psychotic
break. Yeah, and that's entirely possible, too. But I don't think so in this case, and we'll get there. So, Philip was charged with rape, robbery, and murder. While awaiting trial, we're getting there fast with that last point. Philip decided that his violent days weren't behind him. In 2014, Philip made sure no one was watching at the juvenile facility he was at and waited for a 29-year-old female social worker, but for the juvenile place, so she was a staff member, to walk into a locker room. Philip took off his shoes so the woman would not hear him. Philip then snuck up on her, slammed her up against the wall, choked her, punched her, and stabbed her with a pencil.
What is his problem?
I don't even know. I mean, he had a horrible childhood, but it's very violent. And to have never shown, I couldn't find anywhere that prior to him moving to Massachusetts and starting at this high school that he was a violent kid. It was he played soccer.
That was going to be my next question is, did he have any sort of, other signs or...
So I really don't know, but that's...
What the fuck?
Luckily, another staff member heard the ruckus and was able to save the woman.
Oh, good.
Yes, thank God. Can you imagine? Because, he was obviously trying to be quiet. And for that incident, Philip was charged with attempted murder by strangulation, assault with intent to murder, kidnapping, and 2 counts of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon.
And that was a pencil, correct?
A pencil. Evidently, he's into stabbing, and he's got some anger towards women. I don't even know.
But yeah, it seems to be like younger adult women.
Yes, evidently. During the trial for Colleen's murder, the judge allowed only Colleen's family and friends to wear pink, which was Colleen's favorite color, but law enforcement, etc., were not allowed to keep things fair. Like, the judge had to make a statement about that. Because obviously, there's nobody that's like, this, is it a question? Did this happen? Did this, I mean, and she was a member of the community. Like, it's extremely sad. So, everybody wanted to support, and the judge had to limit it. Which is good, because otherwise I think it probably could have ended in a mistrial. I've seen it happen for less. Colleen's family and friends gave heartbreaking victim impact statements. 9 people in total. Colleen's poor dad, Tom, said, and oh God, I cried while writing this. Let's hope I don't do it now.
Colleen's dad?
Yes, Tom.
Oh God, okay.
Tom. He said, quote, I didn't protect Colleen. A dad's job is to fix things. I would do anything if I could fix this for Colleen. End quote.
Oh, my heart just broke into like a million little pieces.
Right? It was literally the fucking worst. The worst. Like, this poor man, he couldn't have done anything to save his daughter.
No.
I know it feels that way as a parent, but like, she was at work. She was grown.
I can't imagine the pain that poor dad.
Oh, I know. And Peggy, Colleen's mom, read a 32-minute heartbreaking statement. And I mean, I honest to God, if we had hours and hours, would read the entire statement because it's important, but we don't. So under Massachusetts law, minors cannot be sentenced to death, which Peggy mentioned this in her statement, but said she wanted a death sentence for Philip anyways.
Like, I wish y'all would make a special exception for this asshole.
Like, for real.
Okay.
She said, quote, he is pure evil, and pure evil can never be rehabilitated, end quote. And, quote, Colleen matters. Colleen was a caring and loving young woman and full of life and a beloved teacher, end quote. Philip's lawyers filed to try to limit victim impact statements like the day after some of them had started, but Judge Lowy denied the request and said, quote, these are crimes that make one's soul ache, end quote. So all 9 family members and friends got to read their statements. Which, I mean, good. That kid should hear how he has taken someone and how wonderful they were and, like, how awful he is. He needs to think about it. Obviously, he wasn't before that because he just decided to go stab us. And that's the other thing that really shook me. I don't know if you noticed that correlation, but the woman that he stabbed at the juvenile facility was a social worker, and his mom, Diana, was a social worker.
Oh, no, I didn't make that connection till just now.
Different ages, but yes.
Right, but still.
I don't know what that's about, but... So Philip was found guilty on all charges related to Colleen's death and was given 25 years for Colleen's murder and 40 years and 1 day for raping and robbing Colleen. He will not be eligible for parole for 40 years since he committed the crimes when he was 14. He will be incarcerated at least until he is 54. But after that, I mean, he could get out. He was a juvenile offender, so...
Yeah, but like, that whole bit about you can't fix evil, like you can't fix stupid. Yeah. I mean, some people are just born evil, and I believe that to my core.
Yeah, but I honestly don't know that. I mean, I don't know that it's like a nurture thing. Like, I mean, obviously he had a bad environment, but obviously we know several people that have grown up in equally bad environments, and they're not out killing people. However, he was a good student. He played soccer. He was, a good kid. And then at 14, after a traumatic divorce, I don't know. I lean more towards like something inside him snapped, or...
It sounds like it.
Like he was holding in a lot. I really don't know. But I don't know that he was like born evil. Because he had a great childhood. Not a great childhood, but like he was a good kid in his childhood and showed no signs. So, I don't know.
Well, puberty affects everyone differently, I guess.
Philip refuses visits from his mom, and he will only meet with his lawyer, and he's like super suspicious about even meeting with his lawyer. So I honestly wonder if like there's some mental illness there.
There has to be.
I'm sure he doesn't want to face his mom, honestly, but to be suspicious of your lawyer, I don't know. That just seems a little paranoid to me. Colleen's mom to this day says that Philip's sentence is unacceptable. However unacceptable it may feel to anyone, it's the law. Also to be noted, I looked and looked and looked and could not find Like, the latest thing I could find, that he was still waiting sentencing and his trial and stuff for the social worker. So it's totally possible that he'll get additional time for that. But
as he should.
Oh, yeah, he should. But it's not gone to trial and stuff, probably because of COVID and all that mess. And that is the story of the horrific murder of Colleen Ritzer and her 14-year-old student-turned-killer, Philip Chisholm. Mic drop.
Pin drop.
That's right. I can't really drop my mic. It's a headset, but...
So, what video did you talk about was creepy on TikTok or whatever?
There's a video from the school of Colleen happily going into the bathroom, Philip following her in, the other student going in, coming back out, Philip coming out with blood on his hand, going and changing his clothes, coming back to the bathroom, pulling the bin out of the school, and then the school parking lot footage has him pulling the bin. It doesn't obviously show like where he went to dump her because he went a ways to a wooded area and there's not, videos that far. But yeah.
Oh my God.
Like I said, it's not graphic. You can't, you do see that little bit of blood, but you'd have to like pause the video and look for it.
But like knowing now the story and seeing the video after the fact would just be like, ugh, so
yes.
creepy.
But see, so I saw it in reverse and it was still creepy. I'm like, what the hell's happened here?
You saw this on TikTok?
Yes. Well, it's just like the true crime that keeps you up at night. And I mean, I get it.
Because it kept you up at night.
It did. And I had to do it. Crime talk. And like I said, you should watch it. Because, it's not graphic. I'm not going to tell you to go watch like some really graphic shit. But it's not graphic. It's just the creepiest thing that I think I've ever seen.
Okay. Well, I'm left with like so many questions. So he's not done any interviews. There's no like, why did he do this?
No, there's no real answer as to why he did this, but he did try to say she deserved it. He said that in court. Like, he alluded to that she deserved it.
So no remorse?
Yeah, none. When people were reading victim impact statements, he showed zero emotion. Zero. Not a tear, not even a smile, no emotion.
I hate this guy so much.
Oh, I do too. I'm telling you, it really broke my heart because, I love teachers. Ooh, God, I love teachers. To be out there getting underpaid and giving your all to students. And obviously, she was just trying to make him feel welcome at a new school. Like, that is the cruelest. I just can't even.
Right. That's why I'm so confused because nobody could have expected this to happen.
No.
That I can tell.
No.
It's not like, oh, we could have prevented this. No red flags. Nothing. He just went to school one day and was just like, I'm going to kill my teacher.
That's the other thing. They did try to say it wasn't premeditated. And of course, the prosecution was like, how the hell do you think this was not premeditated? Like, he packed a box cutter and clothes and masks and gloves in his backpack. He was going to kill somebody, you know? And then, of course, he did that to the social worker at juvie.
But also, like, the whole posing her in a certain way, but then covering her with leaves and like, doing it away from the campus. Like, none of this makes sense at all.
I think he wanted her to be found, I feel like. But I feel like he covered her because he didn't want her to be found before he could get away.
Okay. But still, this whole thing is just like...
I see why it keeps that girl on TikTok up. And look, if you are on TikTok and you're the one that made that video, I cannot find it again, but kudos to you for making me cover this case.
But thanks a lot for keeping us up at night.
You're going to go watch that video. I really do want you to watch it.
You know what? I'll watch it right now.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get a live react.
Okay. Oh, damn. And his pants, his bloody clothes, they were like covered bloody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't...
Which I imagine so, but still, like, when I think bloody, I think of like a little bit.
Yeah.
He looks like such an average kid, too.
I know. He really does.
Oh, and he's like hesitating, too. Like, he was like looking around like, should I do this? Should I not? Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he changed clothes. Oh, my God. I don't like that. Nope, don't like that.
Is that not just the craziest shit? Like, to stumble across that on TikTok. Get the fuck out.
Right. Like, if I would have seen that and not known anything, I would have been like, okay, cool. But, like, now knowing the story, it just...
Oh, it's so bad.
Gives me the heebie-jeebies.
It does me
Yeah,
too.
now I'm going to have to go watch some Ted Lasso. And
That's right. Cheer you up. Cheer you up.
Love our podcast? Then hit that subscribe button and leave us a review.
We're also on Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/truecrimebuzz and join today for access to all our exclusive content, including bonus episodes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at TC Buzz Podcast.
And check out our website at www.truecrimebuzz.com.
Until next time, cheers!